All right, so let's say you're going for that dream job, right? Forex trader. Big interview coming up. You're in the room, market's going crazy on the screen. Talk about pressure.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where our deep dive comes in. We're going to walk you through not just answering those really tough questions, but really knocking their socks off.
It's true. What's fascinating about Forex interviews is it's not like they're just testing you on, the textbook stuff.
Right.
They want to see how you think, how you handle pressure. Would we want to be stuck on a trading floor with you? Are you going to freak out?
Right. It's like anybody can memorize what a pip is, but like if the Japanese yen takes a nosedive, can you explain why that matters?
Right.
So we're using your Forex Trader Career Guide. We have some real interview questions that people like totally trip up on.
And that's the key. Preparation builds confidence.
Okay.
So let's tackle the first one that might come your way. Can you explain your understanding of foreign exchange markets?
Okay, so see, this is already where I feel like most people would go into textbook definition mode.
It is.
We're not most people. So how would you recommend someone answers that to stand out?
Yeah. Instead of just spitting out the definition, convey that you get it, the scale, the impact of it. So instead of saying it's the largest financial market, how about trillions of dollars change hands every day in Forex? It impacts everything from the price of your coffee to global trade deals.
Ooh, I like that because you're not just defining it, you're making them feel the importance of it.
Right.
Okay, next question. How do you stay up to date with market trends and news that affect foreign exchange markets? So time for Bloomberg, right?
I mean, Bloomberg is a start, but everyone's going to say that. So the guide emphasizes going a little deeper. Think industry newsletters. What are those little niche publications, forums, where actual traders are debating strategy? What does that tell the interviewer about you?
That you're not just passively reading headlines, you're in the trenches. You're seeing what the pros are worried about before it hits mainstream news.
Exactly. You could even name drop a specific insight that you picked up from a lesser known source that just shows initiative. And this is where I think, honestly, RoleCatcher can be a lifesaver.
Oh, tell me about it. Keeping track of all those articles, all those websites, it's a lot.
RoleCatcher lets you organize all of that, tag it by topics. So when you're prepping for this interview, you can pull up everything you saved on, say, impact of central bank policies. Boom. Instant, deeper insights.
It's like having a personalized research assistant just for your job hunt.
Exactly. Now, let's say they ask you, walk me through your trading strategy. This is where things get interesting.
Yeah, this is where they want to know if you are the next, Warren Buffett, or if you're going to gamble away their retirement fund.
In a way, yes. But it's also about showcasing your analytical process. So yeah, mention technical analysis, but ground it in the practical. The guide talks about using a personal trading portfolio as a learning tool, and I think that's gold.
Okay, so even if you haven't managed millions of dollars yet, you've got real-world experience, even if it was with a small amount of money or even a simulated account or something.
Exactly. Talk about a time you spotted a pattern, the risk you assess, the outcome. Even a small win, it shows you understand applying knowledge, not just reciting it.
Totally. And speaking of risk, I bet interviewers love to hear about how you're going to avoid disaster.
For sure.
Which brings us to, how do you manage risk in your trades?
This is huge. This shows responsibility. They are not just hiring someone to make money. They are hiring someone to protect their money.
So beyond the obvious, don't put all your eggs in one basket, what are some specifics someone could mention from the guide?
Stop-loss orders. Crucial. Imagine this right. You set a price limit, and if the currency just plummets, it automatically sells, preventing a total wipeout. So you get that.
Oh, it's like an emergency brake for your investments.
Exactly. Then there's position sizing. Not betting too much on one trade, diversifying across currency pairs. This shows you're thinking long-term, not just risky quick wins.
Okay, so you've wowed them with your amazing risk management skills. Now they want to know, are you a team player? Can you describe the role of a foreign exchange trader within a larger financial institution?
Right. This one, I think, throws people off because they think it's all about individual brilliance.
Right.
But the guide emphasizes collaboration, working with research analysts, sales teams.
So it's about understanding that even if you're the one hitting buy or sell, there's this whole ecosystem supporting those decisions.
Exactly. Mention how you'd leverage research reports, how you communicate your analysis to the sales team, how you'd work within a team to execute really complex trades. It shows you get the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Okay, and speaking of pressure, how do you recommend someone answers? How do you handle high-pressure situations when making trades?
Oh, yeah.
Because this job is intense.
Oh, it's super intense. This is where you demonstrate those stress management techniques that the guide talks about. But here's the thing, be genuine. Like, if yoga helps you focus, say that. If it's a clear checklist you run through, that's valid too.
So no need to pretend you're like thriving in chaos if you're actually a very organized, by-the-book kind of person.
Exactly. Authenticity, it goes a long way. But you also need to back it up with a story, which brings us to the dreaded. Describe a time you made a tough trading decision.
Ah, story time. Okay, so everyone loves a good anecdote, but what if someone doesn't have, years of Wall Street experience yet?
Sure. That's where the guide's examples, I think, are really handy. You can adapt them. Maybe it was like a mock trading competition you did in college, or a time you had to make a tough call with your own personal investments.
Yeah, it's about showing that thought process, the analysis, the decision-making, even if the stakes weren't millions of dollars at that point.
Precisely. And even if it didn't work out perfectly, talk about what you learned. That's valuable to interviewers.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning, how does someone nail the question? How do you evaluate the performance of your trades? It's not just about saying, I made money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The guide stresses going beyond just like, yeah, I'm up. This is where you break out terms like win-loss ratio, how many trades were profitable versus how many were losses.
Okay.
Do you even track that? Show that you track that meticulously.
So you're not just playing hunches, you are analyzing your own performance, like with cold, hard data.
Exactly. And, you can also mention like risk-reward ratio. Were you taking huge gambles for small wins, or were you being more strategic?
And this is another place where RoleCatcher can really shine, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's great for quantifying those achievements. Let's say your win-loss ratio on your own personal trading was really impressive.
Yeah.
Put that in your RoleCatcher profile.
Yeah. So that way when you're applying to jobs, that data is right there backing up your claims.
Exactly. It takes the, trust me, out of the equation.
Yeah.
And gives them concrete evidence of your abilities.
Okay. Next question. All about teamwork. Tell us about a time you collaborated with other teams to execute a trade. So how do you recommend someone approaches this, especially if they haven't worked in like a trading environment before?
This is about showcasing those transferable skills. Did you work on a group project in school where you had to analyze data, make decisions as a team, communicate your findings? That's relevant.
It's about adapting your experience, right, to highlight those key skills that translate to the trading floor, even if you haven't physically been on one yet.
Exactly. Paint a picture for them. Mention how you would take maybe the research team's insights, maybe you challenge some of their assumptions based on your own analysis, and then you work with the sales team to actually find the right clients for a particular trade.
It shows you understand the interconnectedness of the role and how your decisions impact other people too.
For sure.
Okay, last question for this part of our deep dive, and it's a biggie. How do you ensure compliance with regulations? Time to get serious.
No rogue trading here. This is about demonstrating integrity. So you could mention things like anti-money laundering regulations, knowing how to spot suspicious activity, emphasize ethical trading practices.
Yeah. It's not just about making money. It's about making money the right way.
Exactly. You could even mention specific certifications or courses you've taken on financial regulations.
Yeah.
It shows you're proactive about staying on the right side of the law.
It shows you're not just a trader, but a responsible professional that they can trust with their, firm's reputation.
Precisely. And that trust is built on a foundation of knowledge, ethics, and, a deep understanding of this complex world of Forex trading.
And that, my friends, is exactly what we're equipping you with on this deep dive.
So we just walked through, some common interview questions they're going to throw at you. But let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the actual career path. It's one thing to, get the job, but then what? What's that journey actually look like?
All right, because come on, it starts at the top. Our career guide breaks it down into those stages. You've got your entry-level trader all the way up to the, trading floor superstar. So what's an entry-level trader actually doing day to day?
Yeah, so think of it as boot camp, It's like your crash course into the real world of Forex. You're probably going to be assisting those seasoned traders, right? You're learning the ins and outs of executing trades. You're getting fluent in all those different trading platforms. It's almost like learning a new language.
So it's a lot of shadowing, absorbing information, maybe making a few thousand cups of coffee along the way.
Let's hope not thousands of cups of coffee. But yeah, a lot of observation, a lot of hands-on learning for sure. But this stage is all about building that rock-solid foundation. So your technical analysis, your risk management, understanding how market dynamics actually play out in real time. Intense, but that's how you build that expertise.
Yeah, it's like boot camp for traders. What about like the actual personality, like the skills you need to survive that? Because it's not just being good at math, right?
Oh, no, not at all. Attention to detail. I mean, you're dealing with money, right?
Yeah.
So even a tiny error can have huge consequences. Stress management is also key.
Deep breaths, everybody, deep breaths. Okay, so you've paid your dues, you've survived entry level, congrats. What's next on this climb up the Forex ladder?
So then you move on to typically like a junior trader level. And this is where you actually start, spreading your wings a little bit. You're taking on more responsibility. Maybe you're executing some trades independently. You might be managing smaller client portfolios.
Okay.
But it's your chance to put all those skills that you've been, really honing to the test.
Time to shine. What does success look like at that stage? Is it all about raking in the big bucks?
I mean, profitability is important, don't get me wrong, but it's more about consistently making those sound trading decisions, managing that risk, effectively, and just building a really solid track record. You're proving that you can handle it. You can handle the heat.
It's about building that reputation, because then that's what's going to catch the eye of the higher ups, right?
Exactly. So as you gain experience, as you're, demonstrating that you've got that trading prowess, you might move up to a senior trader role.
Okay, so senior trader, now we're talking. What does it take to reach those levels?
So at this level, you're not just responsible for your own trades. You're probably mentoring junior traders. You might be overseeing trading operations, developing, more complex trading strategies for larger and more sophisticated portfolios.
So it's that mix of the trading expertise, but also leadership.
Yeah.
And really understanding the big picture of the market. It's like you're the conductor of the Forex orchestra, right?
I love that analogy. Yeah, you're not just playing an instrument anymore. You're leading the entire symphony. You need to be able to anticipate those market movements. You need to understand global economic trends. You're making strategic decisions that are impacting the entire organization.
Wow, okay. So you've mastered the art of Forex. You've led your team to victory. What's the ultimate goal? What's the Mount Everest of this entire career path?
I mean, the head of trading role. That is the pinnacle. You are calling the shots. You're setting that overall trading strategy for the entire organization. So we're talking high-stakes decision-making and a ton of responsibility.
Oh, my goodness. Talk about pressure. What kind of person thrives in a role like that?
It takes a really unique combination of skills and experience. I mean, you need to be a visionary leader, a master strategist. You have to have this incredibly deep understanding of the financial markets, both technically and kind of intuitively.
So it's not just about being good with numbers. You need to understand the psychology of it, the global forces at play, and have the confidence to make those big decisions when it really matters.
Exactly. And that's something that takes years of dedication, continuous learning, and, a genuine passion for the world of Forex.
Speaking of continuous learning, I bet you there are some certifications that can really help you, bolster that credibility in this field.
Oh, for sure. Having certain certifications on your resume shows a real commitment to professional development. And employers, they eat that up. The guide mentions a few, like the CFA, the CFTT, and the FRM.
Okay, break those down for us. So first up, the CFA. What's that all about?
So CFA stands for Chartered Financial Analyst. It's a globally recognized credential that covers, a huge range of investment topics. We're talking portfolio management, financial analysis, ethics, the whole shebang.
Okay, so it's like the gold standard, right? It shows you've got that comprehensive understanding of the industry. What about that CFT?
Yeah, so the CFT, that's Certified Financial Technician. That one's laser focused on technical analysis. So think chart patterns, indicators, trading systems. If you want to be the master of reading those markets just through charts, identifying those profitable patterns, this is it. This is the certification for you.
Ooh, it's like having that secret decoder ring for the, market trends. Okay, last but not least, the FRM. What's that one entail?
So the FRM stands for Financial Risk Manager. And as you can imagine, it's all about identifying, assessing, and of course managing financial risk, which, we've talked about this, is absolutely crucial in the world of Forex trading.
It's like you are the financial forecaster. You're predicting those storms, and you got to make sure that your portfolio can weather them.
Exactly. And these certifications, they're an investment in your career. because they're demonstrating your commitment to excellence, to your specialized knowledge, and that dedication to staying ahead because the world of Forex, it's constantly evolving.
And it's not just about checking a box on the resume, right?
Yeah.
These actually give you like valuable knowledge and skills you'll be using throughout your entire career. Speaking of which, how can someone really stand out when you're applying for these jobs? Because it's competitive out there.
It is, and that's where a tool like RoleCatcher can really be, honestly, a game changer. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is they use these like generic resumes, generic cover letters.
So no more just like blasting out the same resume to every bank, every financial institution. You got to tailor it.
100%. Tailoring your application to each specific role in each company, that is crucial because you need to speak their language. You need to show them that you understand their needs, that your skills and experience are a match made in heaven.
Okay, so how does it actually help you do that?
So RoleCatcher's AI, it can actually analyze job descriptions. It identifies those keywords, those phrases that are most important to the employer.
Oh.
So you know how you said it's like having a secret decoder ring for the market?
Yes.
It's kind of like that for job descriptions because it helps you cut through all that noise. It highlights the specific skills and experience that are going to resonate with that hiring manager.
Right.
It can even help you identify any potential red flags.
Red flags, what do you mean?
Let's say, for example, you're applying for a role that really requires experience with a very specific trading platform. But that's not super clear on your resume. RoleCatcher will flag that like, hey, this could be an issue. It gives you the opportunity to address it.
That's so helpful. It's like having a second pair of eyes on your application, making sure that you are putting your best foot forward.
Exactly. And don't forget, it can also identify maybe some skills gaps that you have. It might even suggest some courses or certifications like the ones we just talked about that can make your application even stronger.
It's like having a personal career coach, like right there in your pocket. Speaking of coaches, let's dive back into the interview hot seat for a sec and tackle another question that tends to trip people up.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time you didn't achieve the results you expected in a trade? What did you learn from that experience?
Ah, yes, the classic tell me about a time you failed question.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but it's designed to see how you handle setbacks, how you learn from your mistakes, and how you adapt.
So, no pretending to be a perfect trader robot.
Yeah. No, not at all. Everyone makes mistakes, especially in a field as, dynamic and unpredictable as Forex. It's all about how you respond to them.
So how do you recommend someone answers that effectively?
So the STAR method is going to be your best friend here.
The STAR method.
Yeah, it stands for situation, task, action, result. So you start by setting the scene. You describe the situation where things didn't go quite as planned.
Paint a picture for the interviewer.
Exactly. Then you outline the task at hand. Like, what were you actually trying to achieve with this specific trade? Next, describe the actions you took. What was your thought process? What steps did you take to try to, salvage the situation?
Be specific.
Yes, be specific. And finally, describe the result. Were you able to mitigate your losses? What did you learn from that experience? How did it change your approach to trading moving forward?
So it's about turning that setback into like a learning opportunity and showing the interviewer you're not afraid to own your mistakes. You're going to grow from them.
Precisely. Now, let's move on to another question that I've seen pop up quite a bit in these Forex trader interviews. How do you stay informed about global economic events that could impact currency markets?
Because it's not enough to just follow the Dow Jones, is it?
No, you need to be a global citizen, constantly absorbing information from all corners of the world.
Right, because a political thing that happens in one country, a natural disaster that happens somewhere else, it's all interconnected.
It is. It can send those ripples through the global financial markets.
Yeah.
So, of course, following reputable news sources is a given. So, your Bloombergs, your Financial Times, your Wall Street journals, that's essential. But don't stop there. Seek out publications, seek out websites that really focus on Forex specifically. So think, your daily FXs, your investing.coms, your Forex Lives.
Yeah, get those niche insights.
Exactly. And honestly, Twitter can be surprisingly useful.
Really? Social media for financial news.
Yeah. You can get real-time updates. You can see analysis from leading traders and analysts. You can even kind of get a sense of the overall market sentiment. Just make sure that you're following credible sources.
Right. No following random accounts that have Crypto King in their bio.
Exactly. And another tip, get really familiar with those economic calendars. So these will list things like upcoming data releases, central bank meetings, all those events that could really move those markets.
So you're not caught off guard when the Bank of England suddenly announces, some crazy interest rate hike.
Exactly. Now let's talk about, the elephant in the room, which is algorithmic trading.
Right. It's all over the news. It's like these lightning fast algorithms that are just taking over the financial world. So I'm sure interviewers are going to want to hear your perspective on that.
They are. And a really common question is, what are your thoughts on the impact of algorithmic trading on the role of human traders?
Right. Because are human traders going the way of the dinosaurs?
That is the million-dollar question, and honestly, there's no easy answer. Because on one hand, algorithms can process these massive amounts of data. They can execute trades way faster, way more efficiently than any human can. They don't get tired. They don't get emotional. They don't make impulsive decisions based on gut feeling.
So where does that leave the humans?
And this is where I think, at least for now and for the foreseeable future, human traders will always have an edge. Because algorithms are only as good as the data they're given.
Right.
And the instructions they're programmed with, right? They lack that creativity, that intuition, that nuanced understanding of market psychology that we humans, we bring to the table.
So it's not about humans versus the machines. It's about humans and machines kind of working together.
Exactly. The most successful traders in the future are going to be the ones who can leverage the power of these algorithms while also bringing in their own unique human insights and adaptability to the table.
Right. It's about evolving with technology, not fearing it. Speaking of evolving, our trusty career guide mentions that the role of a Forex trader is constantly changing. What does that mean for someone just starting out?
It means continuous learning is not just a buzzword. It is essential for survival. Because the skills that are in high demand today might be obsolete tomorrow.
So how do you demonstrate to potential employers that you're that person, that you're committed to staying ahead of the curve?
So pursuing relevant certifications is a great start. We talked about a few earlier, but it goes beyond that. Attending industry conferences, joining those, relevant online communities, subscribing to those financial publications. Those are all ways to stay informed and engaged with the latest trends and technologies.
It's about being a lifelong learner. You're constantly seeking new knowledge, new perspectives.
100%. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Oh yeah, it's not just what you know, it's who you know, right?
To a certain extent, yes. Because building those relationships with other traders, analysts, other people in the industry, that can give you really invaluable insights, mentorship opportunities, and even some job leads.
Build your tribe, your support system.
Exactly. That support system, especially in a world as fast-paced as Forex. Speaking of support systems, let's talk about how RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon throughout your entire job search. Because it's not just about polishing your resume and finding those job postings.
Oh, tell me more.
RoleCatcher can actually help you prepare for those nerve-wracking interviews.
Really? How so?
They actually have this really cool feature where you can practice answering common interview questions.
Okay.
Including those tricky behavioral ones that we talked about earlier.
Like the tell me about a time you failed question.
Exactly. You can practice your answers, get feedback on, how you're delivering your answers, the content of your answers. It can really help build your confidence.
Like having a personal interview coach right in your pocket.
Exactly. And speaking of interview prep, let's talk about another crucial aspect that I think often gets overlooked, and that's behavioral interview questions.
Those are the ones that are like, tell us about a time when you did this. Tell us a story. Tell me about a time you had to make a really difficult decision under pressure.
Exactly. They're designed to assess your past behavior because they're thinking your past behavior is a predictor of your future performance.
Right. So how do you recommend that someone prepares for those? Because those are always tough.
So first of all, it's crucial to understand that there's no one right answer.
Okay.
Because the interviewer, what they're really looking for are insights into your thought processes. What are your problem-solving skills like? How do you handle challenging situations?
So it's not about just having the textbook answer memorized. It's about having those authentic experiences to really showcase your strengths, how you've grown from those past challenges.
Exactly. And again, this is where the STAR method comes in, because it gives you that framework for structuring your answers in a way that's compelling but also informative.
So before you go into that interview, take some time. Think about those experiences. Identify those situations that really align with the skills and qualities that a Forex trader needs, and practice framing them, right? Using that STAR method.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get specific.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, oh, I'm a great communicator, give them an example of a time when you had to communicate, like a really complex financial strategy, to a client, a colleague, in a way that was clear and easy to understand.
Give them the detail.
The details. The more specific, the more relevant those examples are, the more memorable, the more impactful your answer is going to be.
And this is where RoleCatcher can come in handy again.
Oh, 100%. Because they have a library of these common behavioral interview questions specifically for Forex trading.
Oh, wow.
So you can practice things like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult client, or, describe a time you had to make a split-second decision that really impacted a trade.
Wow.
And then the AI can analyze your response. It gives you personalized feedback to help you really refine how you're delivering the answer, but also the content. It's like having that virtual interview coach right there at your fingertips.
That's incredible. Okay, so we talked about tailoring the resume. We talked about leveraging that network, practicing your answers. But what about those last few moments of the interview when they ask, the dreaded, do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, yeah, the dreaded question that leaves everyone speechless.
Right, because our brains are fried by that.
I know, but it's a really valuable opportunity to demonstrate your interest in the company, in the role.
So it's not just about getting through the interview. You're also interviewing them in a way to see if it's the right fit for you.
Exactly. And it's a chance to leave that lasting impression.
Yeah. So what are some, power move questions to ask that show that you've been paying attention, that you've done your research, that you're really genuinely curious?
You could ask about the company's specific trading strategies. What are their risk management protocols like? What is their outlook on the future of the Forex market? Even ask about the company culture. What's the team dynamic like? What are the opportunities for you to grow and develop professionally?
That was great.
And here's a pro tip. Jot down a few questions beforehand.
Okay.
So you're not fumbling, in the moment. It shows that you are prepared, that you put that thought into it.
Preparation is key.
100%. Now let's shift gears and talk about another important but often overlooked aspect of the interview process.
Okay, so we've prepped for the questions, we've got our strategy, but what about just like the vibes? What's the dress code for impressing Wall Street these days?
Yeah, so the good news is you don't need to rate a movie set to find a power suit, but finance, it does tend to still be more on the formal side.
Right.
So you want to look sharp, you want to look professional.
So suit's always a good bet.
Oh yeah, especially for that first interview. Classic colors, navy gray, black, those are your friends. And then just pay attention to the details. So polished shoes, neat nails, minimal accessories.
Yeah, it's like you're dressing for the role you want, not the one you have.
Yeah.
They need to picture you already on that trading floor.
Exactly. And speaking of picturing yourself there, don't underestimate really researching the company.
Okay, so this is beyond just memorizing their About Us page.
Way beyond. Dig into their trading strategies if you can find them, their company culture, even read interviews with their leadership team if you can find those. It shows you're going that extra mile.
It's like gathering intel, almost like before a big trade.
Yeah.
You're understanding their moves, their risk appetite.
100%. And then when you get to those questions, at the end of the interview, that's where you can really use that.
Right.
Because instead of just saying what are the benefits or whatever, ask them something insightful that you found that not everybody would know, right? Did they just take a position on, the future of AI and trading? What are their thoughts on that?
Oh, that's good.
Shows you're thinking long term.
Yeah, you're not just there for a job. You are there because you're passionate about this.
Exactly.
It's almost like you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you at that point.
In a way, yeah. You're both trying to figure out, is this the right fit? Now, before we wrap up our deep dive here,
okay,
I want to leave you with one final thought. Remember how we talked about algorithmic trading, right? It's changing the game.
Right. It's like those supercomputers just crunching numbers faster than we can blink.
Exactly. So here's something to ponder. As you're going through this journey of becoming a Forex trader, how do you think that role, that human role, is going to evolve alongside those technologies over the next 5-10 years?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
It's like we're not just learning for today. We are trying to predict what are the skills of tomorrow going to be.
Exactly. Will human intuition become even more valuable? Will traders need to specialize even further? There's no right answer, but the point is that you're thinking about these things.
It shows you're curious. You're not just along for the ride. You're like, hey, I'm going to be navigating this no matter what the future throws at me.
Exactly. And that kind of forward-thinking attitude, you combine that with, all the prep work that we talked about, a little help from RoleCatcher,
Yeah.
that is the recipe for success.
I love it. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive. We hope you've learned a ton, not just to survive those interviews, but to really thrive in this awesome world of Forex trading.
And remember, the journey's just beginning. Stay curious, never stop learning, and embrace those challenges because those are the hallmarks of a true Forex trader.
Happy trading, everybody.